everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are in a 1990 Mitsubishi GTO, and this is a proper JDM spec version. Quite a rare sight. We got a twin turbo V6 up front, 5-speed manual, and this is from that golden era of just 90s JDM cars, because you know, back in the day here we had the Mazda RX-7, the Honda NSX, Toyota Supra, you know, you name it, the Nissan Skyline 300ZX, a glorious time. And Mitsubishi had the GTO. And today, guys, we are going to talk about it. Now, when you think of Mitsubishi, right, obviously, Evo hits you in the head first. You know, we've got the Eclipse that was over in America. That was a pretty cool car as well. You know, even here in Australia, we used to have the Magna Ralliart, which was a pretty impressive car too. And this GTO really, when you look at it, you read the specs list and, you know, you get in this thing, mate, it was so far ahead of its time. And just some of the features that this car had for 1990 was really unheard of for the era. Some of the things that this car has, which just, again, 32-year-old car, let's remember that. It's got adaptive suspension, you know, 4-wheel steering, it's all-wheel drive, you know, cruise control, it's got active aero. So basically, you know, once you get to 100 Ks in this thing, you know, the spoiler will lift up, the front splitter kind of comes down just when it wants to. And again, 1990, 32 years old, it's impressive. Now, these were actually sold in America. They were sold here in Australia, but they weren't sold as a Mitsubishi GTO. They were sold as the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. And also in America, you could have got these things as a Dodge Stealth. For whatever reason, I don't know. But Australia was lucky enough, though, to only receive basically the top spec version like we're driving here today. Twin turbo V6 again, but you could have gotten these things as a front wheel drive only NA automatic. Yeah. Thankfully, we're not in that one today. But this one, we've got a 5-speed manual. It's all-wheel drive. Again, four-wheel steering here as well. Twin turbo V6. These things, again, 1990 Japanese gentlemanship agreed number, 276 horsepower, so about 206 kilowatts from factory these things were claimed at. Realistically though, you were probably going to be pushing about that 320 horsepower mark. That is, I believe, what they claim them at in the US. Now, there was a European spec version as well that had slightly different turbos and for the Autobahn of cooling, whatever. But essentially, yeah, they were all kind of around that like 200 plus kilowatt range. And you know, again, just easing onto the car, and you know, boost does feel pretty good in it. Makes a nice noise, you know, you get a nice little whoosh out of the front of here, and it handles itself pretty well. You know, again, it's a GT car, and for the size of this thing, the weight of it, out on these tighter back roads, it's still doing pretty well, especially for the age. Would I say it feels probably as tight or as nimble as the 32 GTR? Probably not, just because it does feel a lot wider. This thing feels like it really takes up a lot more of the road. But I gotta say, you know, with a proper driver, you know, racing one of these things against it, man, it's a competitor. Now, funny enough, the Mitsubishi GTO actually launched in 1990, and it was carried through all the way until the year 2000. And honestly, that surprised me, because, you know, you just don't see these cars around. Like, they're pretty rare to spot at a show even. And I'm from Canada, and I don't even remember seeing these things in North America all that often, even though they were sold, you know, quite a few of them were sold there. It's just a car, I guess, that was very expensive when it came out. You know, prices on these here in Australia back in 1990 for one like this, you know, you're talking 100,000 plus. And 100,000 plus in 1990, mate, you could buy a freaking mansion. So, like, this thing was super expensive. And with a price tag like this, you know, it's no surprise that this GTO was actually making more power than the Ferrari 348 of the day. And it also, you know, look at it, took some design cues. Now, if you guys are enjoying this type of content, please make sure you hit that big red subscribe button, click the bell notifications, give us a thumbs up. And guys, yeah, you know, driving cars like this is what we love, and we got plenty more uploads on the way. Oh yeah. Now, probably one of the biggest negatives with this thing, right, is the weight. Because this thing, with all the gizmos, you know, all the features that they did load this GTO with, it's heavy. You know, for a two-door coupe here, just over 1,700 kilos heavy. So, yeah, it is not light, this thing. You can feel this is a big car when you sit in it. But, again, you know, it feels adequately powered. Yeah, I'm actually shocked that this feels as fast as it does. You know, I didn't really expect it to. It doesn't feel as heavy as it should, actually. You know, I'd actually almost argue that a 32 GTR in straight line performance feels heavier in terms of like throttle response. This thing is pretty fast. Like, not even just 90s cars fast. Like, this is, I would say, properly modern car fast. You know, obviously maybe not in terms of 0 to 100 blisteringly fast. Like, you know, you don't want to break the car, but geez, top end on this feels significantly fast. Now, if you did want to make some more power in this thing, modifying these is going to run a risk, I think, and it's not going to be cheap. There are people in America I have heard of, you know, pushing 1,000 horsepower plus out of these things, but, you know, look, it's not going to be cheap, it's not going to be easy, and you're definitely going to be running the risk of problems because, yeah, these are not really known as the most reliable vehicle on the planet, and especially when you start building more boost in them. But I have to tell you, even this one, which is reasonably stock, man, it's enough, it's healthy. And when you're sitting in here, you know, it is typical 90s, you know, a lot of black plastic, but at the same time, you can see a lot of the touches in here. Really, for 1990, we're ahead of the game, you know, especially with the climate controls here. You know, you've got a little screen there that can show you stuff. You know, you've got different gauges throughout here. It's pretty flash, you know. Everything's electronically controlled. The seats, just lumbar support. Again, for a car of this age, you know, you get into a 32 GTR, have a look at it. This thing, it's well and truly ahead of that. And even here, you know, you had cruise control. You've got an adaptive exhaust switch here, so you can actually put it into like a quiet mode. Yeah, you know, all of these features that we know now on modern cars, this GTO legitimately was the pioneer for so many of those features. And it's quite wild that it's so unheard of. And, you know, considering of how monumentally ahead it was. Now, 0 to 100, guys, we are going to do the 0 to 100 test here. Now, 0 to 100, guys, it was done in 7.5 seconds, which does sound slow, but again, we really had to take it easy in first here because, you know, there was a recall on these transfer cases. This still has the original one, and yeah, first gear, can't really do hard launches anymore. But man, this car feels fast when you're moving, and I 100% believe this thing could be in the mid-5s if you weren't afraid of breaking it. Again, yeah, just this is what you love about 90s JDM cars, you know, just that boosty feel, just the outrageousness of these cars as well, you know. It really is fun to drive. Again, for me personally, the thing that stands out the most here is just these gear ratios. They're absolutely huge, and you know, you could just leave this thing like second and third. You never need to get out of it, like, unless you're on the freeway, and you can cruise in the freeway comfortably in fourth. Like, it's pretty wild for a 5-speed. Now I'm gonna finish the video off here today, guys. So look, a huge thanks to the owner for allowing me to take out his Mitsubishi GTO. You know, again, such a pioneer, this car, and to see it, to drive it, and show it off for you guys today, yeah, it's beautiful, you know. And if you were lucky enough to pick one of these up, you can see why the community of GTO enthusiasts absolutely love these things, because yeah, they are just quirky, they're weird, they're fast, and you gotta love them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and we will see you on that next video.